Welcome back. Ed Martin here in The Movement. Our next guest is Gregory Wrightstone. He's a pretty frequent guest on our program. And remember, his website, I'll put it up on social media, is inconvenientfacts.xyz, inconvenientfacts.xyz. Also the title of his book, Inconvenient Facts. And you can also, he's got an app. He's got a lot happening on that website, so go check it out. And before we get into a little bit of a discussion on what's going on generally, of course, Gregory Wrightstone is a geologist, has over 30 years experience as a geologist, and he's written and lectured all over as a scientist, talking about the issue of so-called climate change and global warming and actually what's going on. But before we get a little bit into that and what's the status, I did wanted to ask you, Gregory, about this shooter from El Paso. The President of the United States went down there to El Paso, also went over to Dayton, show his respects and all. But the killer down there had some environmental positions. I didn't look at it closely. Tell me a little bit what you saw, what you read, and what you're hearing.
Well, I looked at at his manifesto, and it should not be posted online. It's filled with vitriol, hate. It's vile. It's mainly dominated by an anti-immigrant philosophy.
Right.
But interspersed with that, probably second would be this radical environmental policy where he thinks the climate change and the environment's degrading, and he's real big on killing people because of to save the earth. He said our lifestyle's destroying the environment. The decimation of the environment is creating a massive burden for future generations. And then he went on to say, if we can, the next logical step is to decrease the number of people in America. If we can get rid of enough people, then our way of life can be more sustainable. I mean, that's right out of some of these radical environmentalist pages and their what they believe. So he was really driven, and he thought that immigrants too, part of this, were actually worse for the environment and for American environment in particular than what he called normal Americans or non-immigrants were. So it's troubling. But you saw last year when I spoke at Eagle Council, these people are. I get threats all the time. I get hate all the time. We saw Antifa coming after me a year ago in St. Louis. And it was just 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, that John Christie at the University of Alabama at Huntsville, on Earth Day, the morning of Earth Day before March, someone sprayed bullets in his office, seven shots from a hunting rifle into his office. So these people are, I don't know, I've never met a white nationalist. Probably no one listening has. If I did, I certainly don't know it. But I've met a whole lot of people that have this a very, very similar view on the environment and climate change as what this character did.
Yeah, we're talking with Gregory Wrightstone, and again, his website, inconvenientfacts.xyz, and I agree with you that we shouldn't, posting this fool's stuff, and then also, I think we are doing better. The media doesn't it doesn't cover the name, doesn't give photographs. I mean, we kind of, these are terrible, evil actors, and deserve less. They deserve infamy, and anonymous infamy is better. But Gregory Wrightstone was mentioning last year at Eagle Council, and it's coming up again. He'll be back in St. Louis September 13th to 15th, and you can go to eaglecouncil.com and check out the whole list of speakers. And Gregory, last year, Antifa came. They protested outside, and then they sent some infiltrators in and disrupted his presentation. But, Gregory, I've asked you this before, I think, a derivative of this. Too many young people just believe what they're told, and the media tells them one thing. And, you're one of the things you've been doing with your book, Inconvenient Facts, and the blog and the app is try to tell people, wait, here's the facts. Here's what you actually can know. But do you find that it changes any minds, Gregory? Feels like people are sort of brainwashed in this modern age, and if they're not thinking, they're never going to be thinking. And are you finding you're making much progress, or is it getting worse?
Give me 5 minutes and my smartphone app, and I can convince anybody, just about anybody. People look at the data that I present that we have on the smartphone app, and they go, I didn't know that. And one of the most impactful things I show them, yes, I can make a difference in a one-on-one conversation, doing it on shows like this.
Right.
This is my mission: is to inform people of those inconvenient facts. But give me 5 minutes and a few charts, and people go, wow. And the two key things that I like to use are the long-term CO2 history. We're being told that an increase of 130 part per million since the Industrial Revolution is leading to horrific consequences. And if I show them the chart where we've declined 2,000 parts per million since plant life first came on the earth that we're relying on, that they go, wow. And if we show them that, they see that rather than having too much CO2, we don't have enough. We actually are CO2 impoverished. Or look at the temperature changes over the last several thousand years to see that what's going on now is similar to what's been going on since really the dawn of time. So no, I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful, but I'm fighting the media and just about everything out there. I'm stifled in most cases.
Yeah, we're talking with Gregory Wrightstone. Inconvenientfacts.xyz is a website and then the app and the blog. Just a couple minutes left, Gregory, but I want to ask you one of these. I always think this is a great one because people will throw out and say 97% of all scientists believe that, X. They basically take that 97% and apply it to everything like, climate change and it's all. And you break that down. I'm looking in your blog, one of these things. And that's an example of people are given a fact that's sort of misrepresented or at least misapplied, and yet they cite it as if it's the end of the argument. Tell us a little about the 97% myth and as an example and what the truth is.
Well, I do have it at my blog. I've got an actual web page devoted to it. They can go to inconvenientfacts.xyz to read about it. But this was the main thing that comes back is two articles written by a guy by the name of John Cook that runs a radical alarmist website. He wrote this. He had several levels of category. According to him, I would be part of that 97% consensus because I believe that that CO2 is a greenhouse gas and increases in CO2 have a warming effect on the earth. I believe that. It's just so. Science tells us that. I just don't think it's very big, and I think it's overwhelmed by the same natural forces that have been driving temperatures up and down since the dawn of time. And those natural forces didn't suddenly cease in the middle of the 20th century. That's what your listeners are being asked to believe, that processes and drivers of temperature that have been going on again since the dawn of time suddenly went away, and it's all temperatures now being driven by carbon dioxide alone. And that's just not so. That's not the way science or climatology works.
Right. All right. Gregory Wrightstone. Again, the website is inconvenientfacts.xyz. The book is called Inconvenient Facts, and he will be with us out at Eagle Council, eaglecouncil.com. You can check out more. It's September 13th through the 15th. Really a great conference. Lots of great people. And Gregory's going to be there the whole weekend. There'll be a chance for you to visit with him and talk about him, get his book, get it autographed and all that, but also figure out how to take the arguments and take the fight to folks. So thanks for being with us, Gregory. We've got to take a quick break. It's Ed Martin here in The Movement. On The Answer, right back.